LMU plays host to students from all across the country, spreading to the far reaches of the East Coast, over to the islands of Hawaii, where our student hails from. Growing up in the American capital of surfing and water sports is sure to get a kid out of the greedy grasp of Netflix. It is rare that an activity like paddleboarding leads to a college recruitment. On this week's episode of Behind the Scoreboard, a young woman who has grown up her entire life paddling shows us how she balances it all. Current sophomore and Hawaiian native Nicole Fong came to LMU for a couple of reasons. 1, to study business entrepreneurship and Asian Pacific culture, and 2, to row for the prestigious LMU team.
I started paddling basically when I was born. Both my parents paddled canoes and kayaks. I did my first race with my dad when I was about 3 years old on a paddleboard, and so I was just training with that. And through that I did canoe paddling and kayaking throughout my whole life into high school.
Despite all her experience paddling and kayaking, the athlete had actually gone her entire life up until college without ever having rowed, and still somehow managed to have enough raw talent to be recruited by LMU.
And so I met with V my junior year, committed, signed, and then came through without ever doing the sport.
Nicole's natural abilities have taken her far in paddle-equipped sports, but the years of training and competing, entering her first nationals at age 12, have surely given her that edge that LMU seeks out in all its athletes. Family ties work to even her motivated off the water as well.
My brother was actually really good at kayaking. When he was like 13, he was best in the United States. So I got in, I looked up to him as like a role model.
The star athlete's participation in kayaking and rowing began as a family affair when she won her first gold medal with her dad at age 5, and remains a foundation block in their family to this day.
My parents always come to all my races. They fly out from Hawaii to here to watch me. So that's fun. I think they enjoy it just because it's a very like camaraderie thing. And both of them have done it since they were born, basically, growing up.
Although rowing is in her blood, Nicole suggests, like just about any sport, the demands placed on the players aren't solely physical.
Be ready to push yourself to your limits. Rowing is definitely a mental sport, that's why I like it.
One of LMU's top coxswains has never been afraid of tackling the physical or mental aspects of her sport.
What's going to get you to the finish line first is your mental strength. And I think if you're ready to push yourself to that level and you want to be that intense, then that's it.
Even with her mental game at its peak, transitioning from canoe paddling and kayaking took a toll on her physically.
I think it was just different because paddling is a lot more upper body, so it's a lot more shoulders, and rowing was a lot more legs. So I did start rowing, but then I have shin splints, so I just had a tough time.
The unfortunate injury she sustained out on the water led to her taking up even more responsibility on the team.
As a coxswain, you don't actually row, you sit in the boat and you give like rates, give time, steer the boats, and you're basically the coach on the water. And so that was different for me just because I'm used to like physically rowing and everything.
To lead her teammates well, there must be a mutual respect between them and her on and off the water. It is lucky the whole team gets along swimmingly.
I'd say they're my best friends. We do everything together just because we wake up at like 5:15 for practice in the morning. And so when you're that early at that intensity, you just have to be close with everyone.
Nicole is a perfect example of Malcolm Gladwell's ideology. If you paddle 10,000 times, you're sure to be great at it. Maybe even earn a spot on the college team. Let this be a rule of thumb to all the young people out there. Destiny can hit you at any age, even if you can count your age on one hand. That is all for this episode of Behind the Scoreboard. Be sure to tune in next time to learn more about LMU's incredibly talented athletes.